Good afternoon and welcome to the Balance of Life. I am Pastor Angel Ferguson and I thank you so very much for joining us today. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Today, I am going to share something with you that just hit me really well, and I want to share it with you. And it is, I just want you to get ready, set, go for it. So, today I want to talk to you about stepping out in faith, doing something that is going to completely blow your mind. It's uncomfortable for you, but you know that this is what you're supposed to do. So, a few days ago, I was sitting and I heard so very clearly, and I want to read this to you as it was given unto me. There's two areas I want to share with you. I was sitting and I heard so very clearly these words. And it says, go after what you have not seen before or heard of. Sometimes when we are discovering who we are and purpose, goals, dreams, and we begin to think about things that we've never done before, and we want to know where that thought comes from, especially if it's starting a new business, interest in a craft, advancing in your career. Stepping into something that is totally out of your comfort zone, but it is for the betterment of the earth. It is to improve geographic areas. It is meant for growth. We often wonder and try to figure out where those thoughts come from and what intrigues us to do it. I am a firm believer that when we were created, that, and I go by scripture, that we all have a purpose in this life. You were created for something. There is something that you can contribute to life. We have been given life. What are we going to give back to the life that we have been given? And so I was sitting a few days ago and I heard these words, go after what you have not seen before or heard of, but trust that God said it. It is coming and that you must prepare for it. So when I heard these words, I began to think about Noah. Noah was one who found favor in the sight of God. Corruption was going around. It doesn't say he was perfect. It says that he found favor, meaning that he was one who would pay attention, listen, and do what was instructed for him to do. Noah had a purpose upon the earth. So do you and I. We have a purpose. But what are we going to do with that purpose when we hear it? Now, do not sabotage yourself and say, oh, I can't do that. I've never met anyone who has done that before. I don't know anyone. Demolish that thought process. Because do you not know that within your generation, there are going to be a first within your family generation? When I set out to become a published author and later on working in the publishing field, when I first started out, there might have been others within my family that had published a book. I heard of others who had started, they did not finish, or they knew someone. So that was kind of a first. Now, there have been others after me. And listen, and if there were some that did it, I didn't know about it. But it was a very exciting time, and I encourage others to do so. Now, when I first thought about it, My first book was actually morning inspirations that I sent to my children. I wanted to be the first person to pour into them every morning when I left for work and they were preparing for school. And so I wanted to be the first one to give them words of encouragement. And that was my first book, Words, Thoughts, and Inspirations. I felt it, and I don't know, it was just one day, it just came to me, send them some words of encouragement. And that is how I started out in writing. And it took a couple of years, but I finally put all of those quotes together and released that first book. So when I say to you, ready, set, go for it, it's something that I have done. It was something that I had never heard of, something that I had never contemplated for doing for myself, nowhere near in my thought process. But I stepped out in faith. So I want to say to you that some of you have had thoughts and aspirations of wanting to do certain things. It could be, you want to paint. Well, you know what? Start from somewhere. Despise not the day of small beginnings. Start somewhere. Do not hold back. Do not deprive yourself of purpose, goals, and dreams. Go after it. Like I said, when I first heard this in my spirit, I thought of Noah and how Noah was instructed to do something. First of all, he found favor, which means he was teachable. He could get some instructions and he would follow through. Have you found yourself to be teachable, that you get some instructions and you actually follow through? You have a dream. Well, guess what? The dream comes with instructions and you follow through. You have a purpose upon the earth, and guess what? You found out what that purpose is. We are forever learning about our purpose, but we follow through with contributing to life, because life has given us an opportunity. So here Noah, and for those who are not familiar with the story of Noah, it is in the first book of the Bible, Genesis. He is introduced in the 6th chapter because there was so much going on upon the earth, corruption. God said he was going to justify. He was going to cause something to happen upon the earth. He was going to cause it to rain. Well, first of all, rain was something that had not happened during this time before. And so, first of all, something is going to happen that had not happened before. So, can you imagine Noah hearing it's going to rain? And the thought process of saying, well, what is rain? What do you mean? What is rain? It didn't stop there. Noah was instructed to build an ark, which was a vessel that could float. And so here he is. He's about to build something that he never heard of before, nor had he seen, because something was coming upon the earth, something new, something he had not heard of. And so I thought about that. When I heard the words, go after what you have not seen before or heard of. What that means is the uncomfortable places, stepping out in faith. Someone might hear to start a nonprofit organization to help our youth or our adolescents in different areas of our lives. To start or extend a chapter of an existent advocacy program. Place childcare facilities in rural areas. Start a soup kitchen. Distributing clothes to the less fortunate. Partnering with homeless shelters, men and women shelters. Do you see where I'm going with this? All of a sudden, one day, you hear this in your spirit. You feel this urge to connect, to do something. Go for it. And you look around your immediate circle and you might think, well, there's nobody I know that does that. Or I don't know anybody who does that. Go for it. Ready, set, go for it. It is what we were created to do. We are many members of one body, which is called life. And everyone who has been created, everyone who is born, has a portion to contribute to that one body called life. I'm just one member. And so I have a very tiny portion. Although at times it may appear that my plate is full and I have a lot to do, and someone might say, oh, you do a lot, but listen, I can only cover so much ground. I can only do so much, but I'm doing my portion. And listen, there are times that I say, did I fulfill my role for today? Did I give life what it deserved from me on today? Sometimes my answer is no. And that is some great truth for you. But I try to make an effort every day to learn more about why I was created, to make sure that I am doing my part upon the earth. So think about Noah. Noah stepped out in faith. Noah was told to do something. And you know what? He expected to see what God said. He expected the rain to show up. Even though he didn't know what it was, he expected it to show up. And so stepping out in faith, stepping out of your comfort zone, to start that new organization, to build that ministry, to expand it, to connect with others that are already in the field, to go after that purpose, that goal, and that dream. Expect to see what you heard. If you hear feed the homeless, expect to do what you heard. Make preparation for it. Plan for the presentation. Find out what it takes. Start small. We don't have to try and compete with those who have been doing it for years or who have a bigger organization. It might be that you can combine your resources to another medium-sized resources and make it all big. But don't hold back. Remember, we are many members. Many, many members. There are a lot of people upon the earth. There are a lot of needs. Different needs in different geographic areas. And let me say this. Don't step on anybody else's toes. Don't set up your organization right next to one that's already established doing the exact same thing. Do you know how much ground can be covered upon the earth? Expand. Sprout out. There is no need, if a demographic area is small, to have 5 of the same thing. Spread out. But do your homework. Don't just plant anywhere. And let me shift for a moment. I know oftentimes we talk about planting seeds. Well, let me say this. Because we look for a harvest, which the harvest is for growth, producing good fruit. Well, you have good seed, you have good intention, but we must pay attention to the ground in which we plant. I'll say that again. Your seed is good because you have good intentions, but we must pay attention to the ground in which we plant our seed. Plant in good ground. So, get an understanding of your purpose. Find out where it is that you are supposed to plant your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, your gifts, your talents, your resources. Plant it in good ground, meaning the right place, and it will produce that which it was supposed to produce. Lives being changed, minds being renewed, motivating someone else to step out in faith like you did one day. We all have the opportunity. Many will take the plunge and step out in faith, and yet there are some that will stand on the wayside, on the sidewalks, and they will watch others do all the work. That's why it's so many members, yet one body of life. We all can contribute to make life better. And you know what else is so profound? What you have to give is for someone else, but somebody else has what you need. See, that's how the body works together. You're giving what you have, what you've been blessed with, your resources, your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, your spiritual gifts. You are giving because it's needed. And if someone else would show up for their assignment and do the exact same thing, it could be very well a resource that you need. Prime example, you want to feed the hungry. Well, you need a resource to get things in bulk at a good price or even items donated. Well, there are the owners of restaurants and grocery stores. You see how that works? Partnership. It makes the dream work. But we have to step out in faith. So I was so excited as I was sitting there and I heard those words. Go after what you have not seen before or heard of. Go after it. Go after it. Examine it. What is it going to benefit? Because guess what? My wisdom, my knowledge, my understanding, my gifts, and my talents are not for me. They are for others. That's right. I love to write, but writing is not necessarily for me. It is to encourage others. And so it will do me no good to write the books, publish the magazine, if I just keep it all to myself. I'm encouraged. I'm the first partaker. And there are often times when I write, I say, ouch. But I know that someone else needs those words of encouragement as well. So here's what I do. Oftentimes when I get those nuggets of inspiration, there are a few people in my contact list on my phone that I'll send them a text. And do you not know, by my being obedient for sending those words of encouragement out, individuals begin to come back and say, I needed that. Those words encouraged me where they were in a place of stagnation and uncertainty. And all they needed was words of encouragement to help nudge them on the way. That is one of the purposes, one of the reasons why I was created. And I don't take it lightly. And I don't want you to take it lightly while you were created. We are all contributors of life. Many, many members of the body. Not everyone can be an arm. Not everyone can be a leg. So imagine the different components of the body. Some of us, not only do we speak, but we have learned to listen. hmm Then there are so many who have the ability to watch and to see what others cannot see. Then you have individuals who are there to walk it through, to see the vision and to run with the vision. Many, many members, and you are a part of the body of life. So you have something to contribute. You have something to give. Cast down those thoughts. Demolish those imaginations that says that you have nothing to contribute, that you have nothing to offer life, that you're just you and there's nothing about you that's good. Listen, that is not true. I believe in the potential of you. I believe that there is greatness in everyone created. It is up to us with what we do with it. It's up to us if we want to find out why we were created. But you were created for a purpose. So the mind is a huge, huge battlefield. In our July magazine of Hope and Truth, we're going to share our thoughts about your responsibility for your thoughts. Do you not know that you can think yourself out of pursuing your purpose, your goals, and your dreams? And it has nothing to do with what anybody said, but it will begin in the battleground of your mind. I'm a firm believer that if we entertain any kind of thought, it will materialize in the heart. And then we will begin to look for it to manifest itself. Manifestation simply means to show up. So we are responsible for our thoughts toward ourselves. And my job today is simply to come by, to redirect your thoughts, to let you know that you were created for purpose and that you are a part of the body of life. There is something you can contribute. Even if you contribute a portion of the meal, listen, you paid a very big part. If you're a part of the cleanup committee, guess what? That is even more precious. The setup portion, the one who does the distribution, to gather the people, all those components are so very important. It's what goes on behind the scenes that really matters. Because if it is not done properly behind the scenes, it won't flow in front of everyone else. So whether you are in the forefront or in the back, you have a portion to play. And your portion to play is very important and it is very vital. Take a look over at Genesis, the 6th chapter, where it begins to talk about Noah in your quiet time. And put yourself in that place. If you were given some instructions to prepare for something that you had never heard of or imagined, and it is for the betterment of all of us as a whole in your communities. See, that's one thing about being many members of a large body, is because we have neighborhoods, we have cities, we have towns, we have states, we have different regions and demographic areas, and so there is so much to do. Never count yourself out to say you don't have anything to contribute. Oh, I don't have anything to do. Yes, you do. We all have something to do. But will you be that one to stand up and take your responsibility? Will you be that one who will say, you know what? I am going to contribute my portion to life. Are you going to be that one? If you love to teach, teach. Sometimes volunteer your time. Or if you are an expertise in a certain field, put the material in a workbook format. Do you see how we're taking your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding, your expertise, and we're now turning it into a business as well as portions of volunteering? Train others. There's generations coming after us. Every day someone is born. What are we going to leave them? What are we going to teach them? We can't take all this knowledge with us. Something has to be left behind. Someone has to teach the next generation. Every day. Every day. So put those thinking caps on. Consider why you were created. What is my contribution upon the earth? What is the benefit? What is it going to help, and who am I going to help? Ask yourself those vital questions and begin to plan to prepare for a presentation. And be consistent, be committed so that you can complete it. It works. I'm not telling you something that I haven't done. I've done it. I continue to do it. The moment my reality set in as to why I was created, what am I supposed to contribute back to life, my life has never been the same. Every opportunity I am looking for ways to share, to enlighten, and so it puts me in a place of continued studying, stepping out in faith. And I want the same thing for you too. There is more to you than you can ever imagine. There really is. So let us help where we are today as well as prepare for the next. Live that dream. Live it. Start that business. Start that ministry. Expand. Grow. Take your time, but go for it. I hope that what we've shared with you today has been food unto your soul and a light unto your path. Please feel free to follow us via our Facebook page for The Balance of Life. Also on Twitter, LA Fergie, as well as Instagram, ALA Ferguson. I love you without measure simply because I believe in the potential of you. Have a blessed day, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.